Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My guest today is world-renowned author Virginia Henley. Welcome. Lovely.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for doing this with me.
You're most welcome. It's my pleasure.
So, Mrs. Henley, world-renowned author of some of the best romance books in the world. How many have you written?
25 full-length books and 5 short stories.
25 full-length books and 5 short stories.
Right.
Fantastic. They've been printed in multiple languages too.
Oh yes,
right?
I have them printed all over the world. I have them in Chinese,
Really?
Russian,
Russian.
Bulgarian, any country you can name, French, German, Italian, Spanish, especially Spanish.
Oh,
You saw a
especially
lot of Spanish
I
books.
bet. The
Yeah.
romance. How do they translate? Are they roughly?
Since I don't read any other language, I have no idea. Although I do have a few fans who will read it in their own language and then read it in English, and they say that's how they learn English.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have lots of letters like that, so it's amazing what people would do.
See that? Who needs Hooked on Phonics and the Rosetta Stone? Just read Virginia Henley books.
That's right.
Excellent. So please tell me, what inspired you to first start writing?
Well, my passion is history, not writing books.
History.
However, back in the late 70s, I read a book by a lady called Kathleen E. Woodiwas, and she had combined history with a sensual love story. And I put the book down and I thought, I can do this. And of course, at that time, my mother had just died, and I had my father come to live with us. So I had 4 men in the house. I had 2 sons, my husband, and my father. And they were all watching men's stuff on television. And I thought, this is driving me crazy. I've got to do something for me. So I warned them all. I didn't have a room to go to make an office out of, but I had the coffee table. And I said, do not touch anything on this table. It's my writing. And I started, and I lived in Scarborough, Ontario. I didn't know anybody in the book business. And it took me a whole year to write a book. It still takes me a whole year to write a book. And then for 4 years, I sent it around to every publisher I could think of. Always got it back. 3 months later, I'd watch for the mailman every day. 3 months later, I'd get it back, and they'd say, we don't accept unsolicited manuscripts. And I sent it to Canadian publishing companies, and they would send me nasty letters saying, we don't publish this sort of thing.
Oh, really?
Because my stuff's sexy.
It's very sexy indeed.
Finally, I was in the bookstore one day, and an author had dedicated her book to an editor. So right away, I had an editor's name. So I wrote to her, I sent her a little letter, told her a little bit about myself, a little bit about the book, and she said, pop it in the mail and I'll read it. So I did, and about a month later, she said she would buy it. She phoned me and told me, we'll buy this book and we'll give you $1,500 for it. And by this time I was ready to have it printed on toilet rolls. So I was very happy to get $1,500 for my first book. And that's how it all started.
Fantastic.
And it took me 10 books before I ever got on the New York Times. And after that, every book that I ever wrote got on the New York
Made
Times.
the New York Times bestsellers.
Right.
Wow. So you did suffer a lot of troubles at the beginning with trying to
Well,
get
there
yourself
wasn't
out there.
troubles, but you know, you really have to pay your dues, no matter what field you're in. You have to pay your dues, and once you've paid your dues, it suddenly starts to happen for you. It's luck, but it's also hard work.
Hard work. Very
Right.
well said. And who inspired you? What authors inspired you? Like, what are your favorite
Well,
authors?
I read history, you know. I read Thomas B. Costain is a great historian, and half my books is stuff that I've learned about through reading Thomas Costain books. And I'll read anybody. I love Barbara Cartland, her little romances, and I met Barbara. We all went on a tour to England, and had a friend who was a friend of hers, and she invited us to dinner and went to her mansion out in the country, and she served us. She even had a butler, and it was fantastic. The only rule was we could not wear pants. We all had to wear dresses.
Very ladylike, very prim and proper.
Yeah, I read anybody. I enjoy anything. I enjoy mysteries, murder mysteries. I enjoy science fiction. I enjoy anything. But I can only write historical. I do not really enjoy writing any other genre, just historical.
You really have a passion for history.
I really have a passion for history.
What is it about history that's...
I don't know. the farther back you go, the stronger you can make the man, you know, like medieval,
Very manly
medieval
man.
times were very,
Yes.
See, what I do when I write a book is my men are all dark, dominant, and dangerous. And then I create a woman who's a match for him, or usually more than a match.
More than a match, yes. More.
Yeah. Now, in real life, women know the difference between men on paper and real life. In real life, a woman wants a man who will treat her as an equal.
Of course.
But
That's
in my books, my men are very, very strong, dangerous, and dominant until the woman puts her foot down and makes him bend down and
Nice.
pay homage to her.
her. Nice. So you make reference.
See, we're saying the same things at the same time. Pay homage to her. We go that phrase right out of the air. We both said it together.
Well, I do have some connection with this lady, which I will
That's
talk
right.
about later. But you were mentioning about what women look for in men and stuff.
Well-
what would you to my viewers and stuff
Okay.
for women? What would you classify women for
Well,
being
I
romantic?
think, to me, I can only speak for myself.
course.
To me, the most attractive quality in a man is courage. If he's got guts, I really admire guts. And the second thing is a sense of humor. Because it goes without saying you have to have intelligence.
Of course, yeah, of course.
A big brain,
Big brain
as
is
well
big.
as big understanding. A big brain.
So size does
Intelligence-
matter.
Not really, not really. No, I think width matters. Doesn't have to be long, but it has to be thick.
Well said. Well said. And what do you think, as a woman, would you expect from men for romance? Like, what would men have to do? Like nowadays, this age, it's very hard for.
It is, it is. I think kindness goes a long way. If a woman sees that you're kind to animals and you're really sincere about it, you're not just putting on an act.
Just to get them.
I don't think like you need to just throw your money around and say, be the macho man and pay for everything. I think a woman would rather be treated equally. And I think women talk more than men. So a woman likes someone who will listen to her.
A good listener.
A good listener.
That makes sense.
Good manners, good table manners, stuff like that.
P's and Q's.
Right.
Very important.
Right, I think so. It depends, of course, where you pick her up. If you pick her up in a bar, who gives a shit? But
There you go, bar
if she's
maidens.
a lady, treat her like a lady.
Very well said. What else? Well, is there anything in particular you would like to speak about? Like, what interests you? What fascinates you besides your writing and historical romance in the world today? What?
Well, I'm fascinated by politics, especially American politics.
It's quite interesting.
This country is split right down the middle, and there's two parties, and they could almost be another civil war because they both believe what they believe, and they never listen to what the other one. It's like preaching to the choir.
Yes.
The only people who listen to one radio station, they're all one mind thought, and the other station is like the 180-degree turn, and that's the liberals and the Democrats and the Republicans. They're just
So-
and most of it's politics. But I love it. It fascinates me. There's never anything on television that I would be watching, then it would be I turn to politics. And my other love is baseball.
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 And who's your favorite team?
My favorite team is the Tampa Bay Rays.
The Tampa Bay Rays.
Tampa Bay Rays.
Not the Toronto Blue Jays.
No, it used to be.
Used to
But
be.
see, I don't live in Toronto anymore now. I live in St. Petersburg, and it's the Tampa Bay Rays, and I know all their names, and I watch every single game.
Have you met any of them?
No, I haven't.
Really?
No. You can see more on television than you can by going. I've been to a few games,
Yeah.
but you're miles away. So if you're wise and you're old like me, you sit in front of your TV and you can see everything. And if you missed it, they'll do a replay.
No, those are replays. Very good. Yes.